So, what I want to say to you is this. Capitalism is not something for us to understand, just it's for us to play. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take you through the concept of driving capital through time. Now, I get it that everybody in this room already knows this, but it pays to have this conversation in sequence. Imagine you woke up this morning and that was you. You woke up and you had $1.4 million of property with $1 million worth of debt. If I was to stand here before you this afternoon and say, hey, how much of this property is be worth in 10 years' time? Because I know you have a deeper concept of capitalism than you allow yourself to know. How much of those properties be worth in 10 years? Come on, anyone? Sorry? Yeah, so people say double. Anyone else? Any conservative people here? There's a credit crunch and things are going to fall. Everybody's saying, okay, double, and so on. What I want to do here, guys, is I want to put on the screen what happened in Argentina when the Argentinians had the meltdown. 10 years later, this is the kind of curve they would have experienced, okay? You remember, some of you will remember, some of you won't. But $1.4 million to $2 million in 10 years. Well, one would call that curve there, right, capital growth. And if we go, hey, you still owe the $1 million, the whole $1 million, and this is my growth, some of you will argue, yep, the capital growth is my wealth building. Some of you will say, no, how much they cost me to have it. Are you with me? But if you pull that stunt, then you know you're richer. There's no argument, yes? And that's what we're going to do. It's to build this conversation. How many houses can one have in Australia? How come the majority of people are struggling to pay for one? You get it to this afternoon. You get it why? Because I'm going to show it to you. Okay? So how many shares? Well, what I want to say is don't take Australia for granted. Our forefathers did not go to war for the freedom of speech. They went to war for the freedom of ownership. That's what they went to fight. If you really think about it, we fight for freedom. Right, freedom of what? To go into business, to own land. Do you understand? The freedom to own, to do as we please with our financial lives. Excuse me? Yeah, I want to open a factory. Okay? You get this, right? So, the reality of capitalism is all around us and it won't go away. And that's why it's possible for you to come into a room and this whole conversation is possible. Why? Because we have a capitalist frame of reference. I want you to be aware that 50% of humans alive cannot access this thing called capitalism through sheer poverty and government regulations. Are you with me? If you have a car key in your pocket and you can choose to have a hot water bath or a shower at any time, you can turn on an engine or have a hot shower, you're in the top 6% of people alive in terms of wealth. Whoa, that changes things a bit, doesn't it? So we also say, well, if I'm already here, I might as well go all the way. Yeah? So, let's go. Often people say to me, hey man, what about debt? Guys, if this was a roller coaster, what's happening right now is we are about to go over a very scary moment. Okay? Check this one out. You're back at the party. Check how deep the hypnosis go. You're back at the party and you just went out to someone and said, hi, hello, I just borrowed $100,000 from the bank. How much do you think I have borrowed? The majority of people will say 100,000. The majority says, no, listen. I just went to the bank and they gave me 100 grand. I signed some papers and then I walked away. How much have I borrowed? Let's check it out. $100,000, 25 years term, 8.5%. You just signed, you're going to pay the bank back $241,000. What actually happens with most mortgages, most debts, by the way, mortgage in Spanish means until death. True? Okay? So you see that most curves look exactly like this, where in the beginning you pay the interest upon the interest. Are you with me? So the principal doesn't go down. So you pay it and you pay it and you pay it. So you sign up for $241,000. Now, to get things a bit more interesting, scary, is for you to pay back, you have to earn $371,000. pay $130,000 in tax, to pay back the $241,000, and the only thing you truly meant to do was to borrow $100,000. Guys, this is everybody you know, your family, your co-workers. This is everybody that ever borrowed money. They're there. This is what personal debt does to you. Now let me show you something macabre, scary. Here comes the government and goes, kitty, 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 kitty. Come to me, baby, come to me. Here's your $7,000 first owner grant. Oh, you know, buy your house. And all of us go, yes. It's the great Australian dream to own our own home. It's the great Canadian dream too. The great American dream, the great English dream. It's the great human dream. Oh. Imagine now knowing that the average mortgage is $300,000. Multiply all those numbers times 3. So here's the government gave you $7,000. Think about the return on the money from the government's perspective as far as an investment is concerned. So the government invests on you $7,000 as a break. Okay? You bought a house. When do you pay for that house? After tax, baby. So you then go, you have to gross over $1 million. Then you have to pay $400,000 in tax just to manage to pay your $300,000 mortgage. Are you with me? Do you get this? Whoa, 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 whoa. Is it a dream or a nightmare? You know, but that's what I said. You're going to hate me. I said, there'll be a moment. Because right now, your grandmother is screaming inside of you, going, whoa, no, it is a good idea to buy a house. Don't believe this guy. He's a foreigner, and he said himself he's an idiot. Hear the numbers. Hear the numbers. It's just no one sat you down and said, please consider. No one said, hey. So when we go and buy a house, we're totally emotionally driven, right? And then we do the sums later, because most people buy a house like this. We go to the bank, and the bank says, good morning, how's it going? I want to borrow, you know, for my house, $600,000, $300,000, $1 million, whatever it is. And the bank says, your monthly repayments is? And you go, cool, I can afford that. And you know what the average Australian does? In 7 years, they upgrade. And you wonder why? You're 46 in my office saying, hello. Can we do something different? I don't think I like to play the game like this anymore. I'm hurting. Are you aware now? Are you awake? This is now going down. Because guys, I'm gonna deliver the answers to this. All right? But this is real. And people go, cool. If a young couple came to see me, all right, husband, wife team, I don't know, 2 guys came to see me and said, hey man, we earn $70,000 each. What should we do? I'll say, build a chain reaction first. Once the chain reaction up and running, going, then you start buying your own home. Let your chain reaction buy your house, the house you're going to live in. You know? Or so should we rent? Isn't rent a waste of money? Yes, it is if you're not investing. But if you're building a chain reaction, this conversation is going to become very clear. But do you get this? When do you pay for your house, folks? You pay for it after tax. Do you get me? All right? There's a few other things we're going to show in a moment about taxation. All right. Here's the typical couple. Just walked into our office and they said, oh, hi. See that the dark blue here? The dark blue over there is their personal debt. So they walked in, and this is the internal conversation they had. They said, oh, look, man, we're both in good money, and the debt is only $50,000, so we kind of backed off. We want to live a little, so we just pay what the bank says. And the blue, the light blue there, is the beach property that they claim as a property investment. It doesn't really work, right? And that's why it's going to take forever to pay it off. This is done before us. This is before we became their accountant. That's before we became their financial advisor. That's them now. Same people. And the only thing we did to them is the conversation we're having with you right now. That's all I did. I took them to that same series of conversations we're having right now. That's them before us. That's them after us. And I'm going to show you exactly what they did just in a moment.